as for this week's video, we have absolutely zero content. We have nothing. It's cold. I've been away for a few days doing a little project, and ultimately the rest of the week, because it's so cold, I need to find stuff to do in the office. So on the back of that, what we've decided is to have a little bit of fun this week and bring you a family tradition of mine, which is the famous Guild family Christmas tree.
Most enduring traditions of the season are best enjoyed in the warm embrace of kith and kin. This tree is a symbol of the spirit of the Griswold family Christmas.
Hey Gil, where are you going to put a tree that big?
Bend over and I'll show you.
You've got a lot of nerve talking to me like that, pal.
I wasn't talking to you. I dedicate this tree to the Go Big Guild family Christmas. Drum roll, please. Joy to the world! Okay, so it's end of play Friday and we have been muck spreading all day today, and for the most part it has gone really, really well. We hired in 2 muck spreaders, and instead of loading it with a load all like most people do, because we've got a lot of wet ground, and especially where the muck was sat, we've opted to pinch Fowler & Gilbert's diggers again. 21 tonne down on this site here, and I'd left the 13 tonne after I'd done that ramp where the other pile of muck was. It's worked really, really well. It's fast at loading because I'm the best digger driver ever, but it is faster at loading than it was with the load all. And we haven't chewed all the ground up. Or have we, Mark? So we've just had a bit of a dilemma on the last bit. Everything was going perfectly well all day. We got down here to this last bit, which is probably the wettest ground that we've got. Ryan decided the 8 tonne per acre was 8 tonne per square metre for this last few loads. So we've gone on a little bit thick over there. Mark went one step worse though, because Mark was coming through onto this side and he got well and truly stuck. We've had to pull him out, we've had to empty everything in one big ruck, just run it off the back of the muck spreader to get him out. We've cleared the tyres on the tractor and trailer, and then we've reloaded him when we've got him on a drier spot just to finish off. Just before we move on though, there was a tragic accident here yesterday and the creation of 2 new manginas. So right in this spot here, we had a tragic accident, and luckily it wasn't life-threatening, but it nearly was. But there was 2 manginas created, so have a look at them. Luckily he was okay, but we're done pretty much on the farm now, so we're going to head up to the house, so cut. Another set of results is Mark actually smashed us all out the ballpark. We had a little competition, me, Clayton, Ryan and Mark. I think Mark cheated. See what you think, but Mark did win. I want full, that's it. Now I want full arm. How did that? 351. Full arm, Clayton? That's not a full arm, you haven't done one yet.
Ready?
Yeah.
Come on, Dwayne.
Right, so what we're doing here now?
So basically, we've got to sort out close calving cows in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
In the left-hand side.
So that's what's in there now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have a good sort through those, pull the calf out, and top that shed up. And
So one calf out of that side.
Yep.
You know this is supposed to be for machines, don't you?
I do. But they are machines, look at them. Yeah.
Mark doesn't want to miss his sixth or seventh.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Sixth breakfast in a row at the auction. Or an auction.
But not the same auction, yeah. Doesn't count then.
He's cheated. Let's go through the figures. Mark!
2 minutes, I'm just having a shit. So.
Well done, man. So, how we get on?
Very good.
Can't do this. As you can see, the office is not yet finished because Mick's been and done the roof. We haven't got any windows, we haven't got any internal walls. Wayne is slacking. All of this has been done waiting for Wayne now for at least a week?
At least a week.
Maybe a week. Why aren't you here, Wayne? Now, this is the latest bit of ground that we've took on. This is our second cut off this. There's about 60 acres here. It's our highest sitting ground, but it is absolutely saturated, and this here was not dumpy this time. This here was lanky. So first off, to settle an argument between Blue, Green, Mark or Ryan, Mark says it is now 2-1 because Ryan got stuck twice when we were doing these 380 bales off of this 60 acre field that we've got here. Then we've had a couple of comments as well saying it's the weight block on the front of the tractor that makes a massive difference, levelling out once you've got that weight on. I personally think the John Deere is a better tractor, but is it just the weight block? Is that the problem? Or have we got too much wet ground or too much weight? I can't see that we've got too much weight on the trailers, but by the by. Papa G, he come out of retirement last night to help us, or to help me get the last of the bales in. He come and did 2 loads. He said, there are both screwdrivers, load me up with twice as many bales and I'll get back no problem, and he did. So Papa G is the man. But the problem that we've got, all our ground, I've said many times, is wet. This is exceptionally wet. I thought we'd have the biggest problem down in the bottom. We haven't. The biggest problem that we've had is up on the top. Now, as we haven't seemed to have had a dry week in the last 2 years, we've got to think long term about what we are going to do, because we have ultimately trashed this. Each one of them seemed to come anywhere between 2:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning. But they were good, they were healthy, and we only had to pull one of them. But unfortunately, on the 5th calf that was due to be born, we did have a bit of an ordeal. If you are squeamish, or if you get upset or find anything distressing, please skip this next section because it's not very nice. I know Mark and I found it quite sort of hard, but we had this one here. I noticed that I thought it was starting to calf at about 11 o'clock at night. I checked it again at 2:30. There wasn't a great deal more happening. I then checked it again at 4 o'clock because I thought, you know, it was getting close. 4 o'clock it was lay down. There was a few contractions and the waters had burst, is how I describe it. Mark come in about 4:30 and we stayed with it. We tried, there was nothing happening. We couldn't actually, we got into about there, we couldn't feel the calf. So it was a bit odd. We rung the vet, we had the vet out, and the vet said, look, we need to do something here. So they couldn't pull the calf out, so they had to do a C-section. Now, this is where it gets a bit distressing because the C-section, the calf come out, the calf was dead. And as it turns out, I think we've sent the bloods off, we've had the bloods tested, or sent them off to be tested. We think I think it's pronounced Schmallenberg. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it's Schmallenberg that is, as I understand it, it's a bug that comes across from the continent, and at a certain point during which the cow is pregnant, the cow is bitten or infected with this bug bite, and it affects the pregnancy. So this is how the calf come out, which its legs were fused together, its head wasn't quite right, it was deformed. If it had been alive when it come out, we would have had to put it down anyway. So it's quite upsetting, that one. Good morning. This video is a little different. We're on the farm, and unfortunately for us, we have been broken into. And in fact, this is our second attempt of recording this, and I am giving Clayton very, very little time to edit this video before it goes out, because I've changed my mind. The first video that we recorded was pretty much the day after I had received a letter from an animal activist group saying that they'd broken in. And at the time when we recorded, I was quite angry. As you can probably imagine, everybody's got a bit of a temper. I certainly have. And at that precise moment in time, I said everything exactly as I thought on video. I've now calmed down and I've come off the boil a little bit, and I always try and see everybody's view from each side of the fence. And although I can't understand the level of extremism, I'm going to call it, that has been taken into the hands of these activists that have been onto the farm, I perhaps was a little bit personal with the first video that we recorded, because I was whatever you're doing. Shut the door on the way out, keep the heat in, please.
I will do. Bye.
So one of the reasons I brought this up with the price per kilo and the price per animal and how much we're making, we've covered it before in the past, but it's more relevant at the minute because it all adds weight to the argument of the government's decisions of what they're doing. Unfortunately, we never made it to London because I had the dreaded man lurgy, and at the same time we had a load of snow here and there was loads of problems off the back of the snow with everything freezing up. So we had to stay. By the time we'd done all that, I didn't want to go to London then and feel lousy walking around in the cold all day. But I did keep abreast of it as best I could on social media, following Ollie blogs, and also Clarkson's lot. They were down there, Clarkson did a speech, and that was very important because Clarkson's message hit the nail on the head. The government needs to back down on this one. They need to admit they're wrong, admit they've just rushed it through, like he said, and they just need to back down. Because the inheritance tax thing, albeit a big one, that, because what it basically means is farms are very, very asset-rich, cash-poor. And what happens is when a farmer passes on and passes that asset, as in the farm and the land, down a generation, it creates a massive tax liability, especially now that they've altered the rate, and there's no cash about to generate without selling any of the land off to pay the tax bill. So we've had a couple. So these were the two earlier ones that have just not long come in this last week or so, or just over a week. And we've also had the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. Look at this.
So I never stitch these for two reasons. One, putting a stitch in causes a bit of irritation and makes them more likely to strain and push it back out. And then if you imagine the little size of the little stitches you'd put in, and she strains that 100 kilos worth of uterus back out, it's just going to rip the whole thing to shit. To be honest, this one went in fairly easily compared to some.
It's still wet, I suppose.
Yeah,
it's still fresh.
Hopefully. It's not a matter of easy out, easy in. But I think ever have had two re-prolaps, so it doesn't happen very often. But the fact she's up and gravity's helping me, hopefully that should stay in. She's a big slack old fanny. So if she does, sorry. shall I change the terminology? No. Vagina musculature is rather.
No, I'd leave the first one in. I would.
She's got a slack old fanny, so unfortunately, if she doesn't stay up and she does keep straining, she can push the whole fucker back out again. But it's back in as far as it can go in now. So.